Hey, good morning. This is Dr. Bob McIntosh with HealthSource Chiropractic. Hope you're having an awesome day, and just wanted to send out some more chiropractic vibes to everybody that's watching. So anyway, hope you learn a lot today. We're going to talk about sciatica and hip pain, or even bursitis. Those three things. And normally what you hear is people talking about, man, my hip is just hurting, and it can be musculature or nerves or bones as far as that are irritating the nerves themselves. And so that's what I want to be able to talk about today. So I'm going to talk about with these guys behind me here. So on this one right here, you have the spine in the middle, of course, with the skull up here, arms, legs, but we have the pelvis here and the hip right here. A lot of times people will talk about their hip pain, which they're like, my hip, and they're holding their hip on their back. It's really not their hip, okay? And it ends up, it can irritate the nerves where it comes down the leg. So everybody's heard the word sciatica, and sciatica is any irritation to this nerve group right here that runs down the leg. And irritation can come from up here in the spine, here in the pelvis, down in the muscle groups along here. It can come along the muscle group along the back of the leg as well. And so what ends up happening is we have to figure that out. So sciatica is literally the most generic term for back pain, and I still get that diagnosis from medical doctors and PAs and people that don't deal with musculoskeletal injuries all the time. And it's the catch-all for it. I know that they're busy and it works, but now we have to figure out that next step. All right, what is actually wrong with it? Is it something that we can fix? And if it is, let's do it. If it's not, let's get them to the place that they can actually get some help. So this is what I'm going to talk about today. Sciatica or bursitis, or we have SI pain, okay? SI is your sacroiliac, this pelvis portion right here with your the pelvis wing out on the side here. This is that's the articulation between those two bones is called the sacroiliac joint. When it's mad, the pain can shoot down the leg just like a sciatic nerve irritation. And it's not a sciatica, it's just we have to figure out if that's the pain. So then we can do an evaluation, figure out if that's the cause of it. Next, there's some muscle groups that are right here that go over that nerve called the piriformis. And I'm sure a lot of people have heard that. But it's a pear-shaped muscle that actually irritates, or even the muscle can be like this, and then the actual nerve can be built between that muscle, and every time it contracts, it pinches that nerve. And so what ends up happening is that tissue, we have to be able to loosen it up, be able to be able to stretch it out, get it to stop irritating the nerve. So that's what we can do for Piriformis syndrome, or a more specific term for sciatica. Next one is going to be hip pain or bursitis, and so that's on the side of the actual hip itself. And so you'll hear this one with people. They're like, oh, I can't sleep at night. I flip and I flop and I flip and I flop, and I just cannot figure out what's going on. So that's literally what this is all about. So right here, and so there's muscles that attach, those ones that I was just talking about, the piriformis, your gluteus medius, and they attach to this part of the bone that you can see right there, okay? And so what happens is there's layers of tissue in there, but there's also sacs of fluid that create lubrication, basically, so those muscles and tendons can slide past each other. When they do it too much, or you lay on it too much, or the tissue is just mad, it swells up, and those little sacs do, and then they start inflaming all the tissue all around it. So people that are super tender, you touch them on the side of the hip, and they're like, oh goodness, it's a real thing. This is called bursitis. And you'll watch this, especially females as they're getting older, and they'll start to get super tender. If you're a husband watching this, push on their hips with just your fingertips. Just reach in there and push on the back, and then go to the sides, and then you'll end up with these like, as far as super tender spots that just light them up, and they can't handle it. Guys can be the same exact way, but I do find it more common in the office with a woman. And so we'll take and start working through that tissue, but what can happen is these muscles are shut off a lot of the times because of a SI or a back problem that they have that is taking and shutting the muscle off, starting that inflammation process, because every time they walk, their hips move just a little bit extra, and it stretches and squishes that fluid-filled sac called the bursa. And so we've got a stability problem in the back. So I am very specific as far as when I go in and I find out what the exact problem is when I take and help people with back pain, hip pain, neck headaches, all of this. This is one that I really deal with a lot, and I get great results with it. So if you know someone that's dealing with it, I would love to help, number one, find out what the issue is. Number two, if I can actually make an impact on it and make it better, I'm gonna let you know how to do that for sure. Number three is if I can't, I'm gonna send it out to whomever it ends up being. I've had hip sockets that I've had to replace or send off to an orthopedic surgeon before we could address the rest of this. So there's some things that I can't do. So if you have back pain, hip pain, bursitis, night pain when you're laying and flipping flopping and you can't sleep, that's what you need to be able to know as far as identifying it. Give me a call. I'll be able to help out. We're in Rapid City in Tuscany Square. The address is 325 Omaha Street, but the phone number is 718-5329. Again, 718-5329. Please, if you know somebody with this, share it with them. Be able to help them out because I can help them get answers as far as being able to fix this problem. Hope you have a great day.